everyone, it's Jane. I'm here to do another taste tonight. I thought of this book because I saw that John Oliver had done a piece about Ayn Rand this week, and pretty much everything that I know about Ayn Rand I learnt from this book, which may not sound like much of a recommendation to anybody who knows Ayn Rand or who watched the piece on John Oliver, but this book is called Sewer, Gas and Electric, the Public Works Trilogy. And one of the characters in this is a real Ayn Rand fanboy. And the other central character is not, in short. And they have a bit of argy-bargy back and forth about Ayn Rand's books. And then she herself turns up as a character. Well, at any rate, a holographic recreation of Ayn Rand turns up in the story, which is super funny. So that's not the part that I'm going to read you tonight, but it is what made me think of this book. And this is funny. It's a super funny read, and it's a real page turner because there's a million things going on. I'll read you just a smidge from the blurb, and then we'll crack it open and have a taste. America, 2023. Harry Gant is building a new Tower of Babel 500 stories above the polluted streets of Manhattan. In the festering sewers, his crusading ex-wife Joan hunts a mutant great white shark named Meisterbrow, while in the waters of the Atlantic, eco-pirate Philo de Fresney leads his crew on a desperate quest to make the world safe for ring-tailed lemurs. Okay, here we go. Let's have a taste. Ready for surfacing, Morris Katzenstein announced as the Yabba Dabba Doo closed within a quarter mile of the South Furrow. What's the weather like? A couple other ships about, Astor Wills called from the sonar bay. Fishing boats? Nothing to give us trouble. No spy satellites due overhead for the next 28 minutes, Norma Eklund added, consulting a printed timetable. Philo rubbed his palms together. Aussie, bring us in and surf us alongside them, but leave enough room for manoeuvres if they decide to ram us. Osman Hamid, the helmsman, in his youth the fastest taxi driver in Western Turkey, grinned like a bandit and spun the Annunciator to full speed ahead. Norma, begin jamming procedures as soon as we're up, Philo continued. Assault personnel and media crew stand ready. Marshall Ali, the sub's costume designer and trainer in arcane Kurdish martial arts, helped 29 Words suit up. You have your body armour on? Yes? Marshall Ali was a fanatic about the essential Zen qualities of bulletproof padding. I'm wearing it, but I don't like it, 29 Words said. Over the armour he had on a fake polar bear skin, complete with fanged head. Great outfit, but hot as hell even without the layer of armour, and the temperature outside was a sweltering 45 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll probably get a heat stroke. You are not allowed to get a heat stroke. You have to wear your armour. Why? Because when you go into battle, you must always assume your opponent will be ruthless and take every precaution. Also, I am bigger than you and will beat you about the face and neck if you do not do what I say. Istanbul, Osman Hamid cried. Though he understood commands intuitively, he spoke no English and used the name of his hometown as an all-purpose expletive. Morris translated, servicing Philo. Jamming all SOS channels, said Norma. Match speed and stay parallel with the target, Philo ordered, studying the South Furrow through the periscope. Crew members were running aboard the deck, pointing at the sub and giving the dread cry, Yabba Dabba Doo Ho! Launch the helicopter wing, Norma. Start transmitting. It's showtime. After the sail, where the missile deck would have been located on an ICBM sub, openings appeared in the Yabba Dabba Doo's green and pink hull, and a swarm of model helicopters rose into the air. Each about equal in size and mass to a winged hunting dog, the choppers were computer remote controlled and painted in a variety of cheery day-glow colours. Most mounted high-definition television cameras for use in the upcoming broadcast, but one group of 4 shared a special cargo, a gigantic lemon meringue pie 10 feet in diameter. Once the remote helicopter wing was airborne, another larger whirlybird was raised to the launch deck, christened a Flying Zodiac by its inventor, Morris Katzenstein. This chopper was just big enough to carry one unfortunately displaced Indigenous orphan. As 29 Words lifted off, Marshal Ali appeared on the Yabba Dabba Doo's observation bridge atop the sail, shouting guttural phrases of encouragement. Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Sonny Bono! Meanwhile, Norma Eklund had raised a telescoping transmitter dish and interfaced the Yabba Dabba Doo with the North American satellite computer net, bypassing a dozen security barriers to pull the plug on the Turner soap opera network. Con Edison's main billing computer was told to institute an immediate power shutoff for lack of pavement at Turner Broadcasting's New York studios. Automatic switching facilities at cable network companies across the continent were instructed to accept an alternate transmission, and just to be obnoxious, every pizza parlour on the island of Manhattan received a faxed order for a double anchovy pie to be delivered to Harry Gant's office at the Phoenix. Morning devotees of Dog Eat Dog saw a burst of static, then a computer graphic rendering of the Defresne pirate logo, a hybrid cross between an ecology symbol and an Amish hex sign. A synthetic brass band played the theme from Global Village Bandstand, while the ageless voice of Dick Clark gave the intro. And now, live from planet Earth, it's time for another daring daylight raid by that champion of unspoiled nature, your pirate and mine, Philo Defresne! Canned cheers, the roar of the crowd at the 2017 Super Bowl when Brenda Bamford scored the winning touchdown for the New York Jets. The Yabba Dabba Doo made a brief on-screen appearance from which Norma dissolved to taped scenes of the aforementioned unspoiled nature, wide glacial expanses, clean white Antarctic landscapes, Mount Erebus rising against a crystalline sky. Morning, world, Philo said, having donned a set of earphones and a throat mic. Philo Defresne here, acting today on behalf of the 7th continent. Thought I'd let you in on some disturbing rumours I've been hearing. Rumours that American oil and mineral interests have convinced a certain second-term president to authorise the exploitation of Antarctic resources, despite the fact that he doesn't have the power to authorise that, not without an act of Congress and the majority support of 52 other countries. Now, it's a little early in the day for rhetoric, so I'm going to spare you the usual party line about saving a piece of the wilderness for our grandchildren. Likewise, I'm not going to say a word concerning the possibility of armed conflict if those 52 other countries decide they don't like having a treaty broken. None of that. I just want you to look at these pictures we're flashing you and see if you don't agree with me that Antarctica is a pretty place. Harsh, yes. Cold, you bet. But certainly nicer in its current state than those places where the blast and drill companies have already been hard at work. Norma cut to a montage of Alaskan oil disasters, dead birds drowned in the slicks of Prince William Sound, lovesick caribou running from the ruptured Trans-Alaska pipeline after the quake in '02, fudgy black tides marking the 2020 blowout in Bristol Bay. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Philo continued as Norma returned to the pristine Antarctic vistas. Sure, it looks nice, and everybody loves penguins. Be great to have some living in your neighbourhood, but what can the average person do? We're going to give you some suggestions along those lines later in the program, but I did want to tell you first that I understand that feeling of helplessness. Some mornings I feel as if Earth's problems are just too big and I haven't got a clue where to even begin. Then there are other mornings, like this one, when I wake up, look across the waves and see a ship belonging to my old pal Harry Gant. Cut to a long shot of the South Furrow, and I say to myself, Philo, you may not have all the answers to saving the world, but why not start by sinking that goddamn boat? Sink it for the penguins. Sink it for the grandchildren of America. And may God bless us all. Morris flipped a switch, and the cargo hellos released the pie. The remote cameras captured its descent in super slow motion, frame by frame down a long arc to splatter across the face of the icebreaker's pilot house. That one was just for you, Harry, Philo said. Up on the sail, Marshal Ali brought a water cannon to bear and began hosing down the South Furrow with whipped cream. 29 Words flew in fast and low, letting his onboard targeting computer aim the Zodiac's electric harpoon. He was happy in his natural element, stalking a seafaring quarry many times his size, and only for one guilty second did he wish the ship were a whale, the harpoon a real killing spear tipped with stone. He let fly as he crossed the stern of the icebreaker, skewering a fat grey cable at the base of the South Furrow's radar mast. The harpoon struck and spliced like a hot needle probing the spine of a catfish. The hardware package in its shaft fed a paralysing series of virus programs into the ship's navigation and control systems. The big boat shuddered and began to slow down. The Zodiac shot over the pilot house and dropped down, almost into the path of the whipped cream stream. 29 Words stuck at a hand, pulled back a fistful of sugary white fluff. Smearing his mouth with it, he brought the whirly bird around, settling it into a low hover above the icebreaker. He flipped on the autopilot and unfurled a flag from beneath the seat. Then he jumped. Whipped cream already lay 3 feet thick on the deck amidships. It was like falling into a mattress of cotton candy. 29 Words came up laughing and waving the flag, which bore a small but proud igloo on a white field. "I claim this tub for the Inuit people," he shouted. He found himself surrounded by an angry detachment of the South Furrow's crew. 29 Words had seen the deckhands of other ships respond with laughter to the Yabba-Dabba-Doo's attack, but these folks were clearly bad sports. "Come on, line up," he told a big burly fellow who was actually growling. "I know it's a little embarrassing, but it's for the good of the environment." "I'm going to kick your ass, Junior," the burly fellow said. "No, you're not," said 29 Words, throwing down his flag. "It's only fair to warn you, I've been trained by one of the great martial arts masters in all Kurdistan. If you try to land a hand on me, I'm going to have to club you with a rubber fish." The burly fellow tried to lay a hand on him. 29 Words easily sidestepped the attack. True to his word, swatted the angry seaman with a flexible purple trout. The burly fellow took a pratfall in the whipped cream. On the Turner Soap Opera Network, he took 2 pratfalls, one live and the other in slow motion. Another deckhand charged, and another. 29 Words trouted them all. Then all the remaining crew members rushed him in a body, and for a moment it looked as though a rugby scrum had broken out on the deck. 29 Words stepped out calmly from behind the mob of men and women and walked away whistling while they pummeled one another. He'd stopped to wave at the cameras when a hatch slammed open and Beardsley Stepanek, the hyperactive ship steward, raced on deck wielding a flare gun. "All right," Beardsley screamed, drawing up a shaky bead. "Freeze it right there, you tree hugger." "Relax," 29 Words said, and plucking something from beneath his bearskin. With a snap of his wrist, he flicked what looked like a snowball at Beardsley. Even in super slow motion, it was hard to follow the snowball's mid-air metamorphosis, but when Beardsley looked down at himself, he saw that an Arctic bunny had landed on his chest. A stuffed Arctic bunny with sharp toenails that had been dipped in liquid euphoria. "Oh, hey." A sensual warmth spread across Beardsley's chest, up into his arms and down his legs into his toes. Abruptly in love with the whole world, penguins especially, he tossed his flare gun overboard and crouched down in the whipped cream, smoothing great armfuls of it into his hair. "Oh, wow." He looked up at 29 Words and smiled. "You know, kid, you're beautiful. That's what you are." "I'm Indigenous," said 29 Words, "and you're not so bad yourself." Okay, that was a taste of Matt Ruff's Sewer Gas Electric, the Public Works Trilogy. And if you enjoyed that, you might want to check it out. Talk to you later. Bye.